Hey, what is up, you guys? Welcome back to Scary Movie Girl. This is your friendly neighborhood weirdo, Nika, and today is going to be a little bit different. Normally on this channel, I do things like reviews of scary movies, or I talk about theories or my favorites. It's been a while, too. It's been a hot minute since I've made a video on this channel. But this one is going to actually be kind of more realistic, well, 100% more realistic, because we actually filmed this video for our vlog channel, and I wanted a place to put all of the unedited footage just to kind of see if I caught anything. Our vlog channel is a lot more kid-friendly, so there was a lot in this that we could not include, but I wanted to have it somewhere. I actually possibly did catch a ghostie saying something too, so if you want to watch through that, it's right at the beginning. You can decide for yourselves. And if you guys see or hear anything that I was not able to catch after the hours and hours and hours and hours of watching all of this footage over, give me the timestamp down in the comments and I'll check it out, and I don't know, then we can be ghosty buddies, I guess. I don't really know what that means, but this is a really, really long video, so don't feel like you have to watch the whole thing. Totally understand. Just wanted a place to put it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk next time. Bye-bye.
Look at all these poor, unfortunate souls. Whoa, the stairway's creaky. We've done this before. She's trying to catch a ghost. Ghost.
Or shadow. The world may never know.
Dear Lord.
Everybody from Arizona. I've been here 4 years. Where y'all from?
Texas currently.
Oh, cool.
Just down in Reno.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City.
Awesome.
Lake County, California.
Where in Texas?
Huntsville.
Iowa?
Houston.
Lake County is the high school in Fort Worth.
Oh, cool.
My dad went to.
See, I love when that happens. I had people in New Zealand that didn't know each other here 2 years ago. Kiwis. They can drink us all under the table. Now that I caught my breath, I want to show you guys some ghost pictures. We're going to do part history, part structural, and part paranormal. And I can lean one way or the other, or the tour pretty much takes 45 minutes. I know the sign says 30 minutes. Is anybody on a bus or anything, or need to catch a plane? Okay, then I'm part Cajun. I'll just keep talking. You have to interrupt me. And please do, especially if you feel anything with your senses. You might feel your hair getting moved, or your clothes tugged on. You might have electronic malfunctions. When that happens, I'll go, see, told you. They see it every day. You might see shadows out of the corner of your eyes. We have shadow figures, which are observers that don't want to be observed and they never interact. That's their classification. We have the residual hauntings that do something over and over. Did something already tickle you? No. Okay. We're all in circles. I don't know how many times when I first started, I'm like, this is shadow! Oh, that's my shadow. The residuals are echoes of the past, and they repeat something over and over. Nick, who doesn't believe in spirits until this happened, he was standing right there to scare me as I was coming down the stairs. We were locked in. He knew I was upstairs with all the tourists, and I heard him go, ah! You screamed like a girl. Because I hollered like a man. I go, not at the end. He goes, that's when she went to the wall. He saw a lady come through that door, and then she started moving faster than a human, and she went into that wall.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I realized on the other side of that wall, there used to be a door there. That was changed over in the 1920s. And so that's a residual haunting, and then active hauntings are the ones that, ladies, you might get patted on the rear. Gentlemen, make sure it's your own wife if you want to get away with that. Do you feel hands on the shoulder? Sometimes people get scratched even, so we don't know what does that. And I have plenty of proof on photographs here to show you guys. So we're going to start with the dog ghost. I don't know what it is, but there's a dog in this picture and he's staring at something. He was frozen, he was pointed, and his fur was sticking up. Couldn't get him to move. So whatever that white smush thingy looking thing, we call it a ghost. Or a spirit. I have psychics, but they don't really like the word ghost. I'm like, oh, this is a G word? So whatever that is, not sure. But the dog could see it and we couldn't. So if you happen to capture a picture of this, the lady asked me not to publish it.
Okay.
But all the rest, fine. Here's one, and there's like a ghost cat wrapped around my feet. So you might hear or feel a pet, or maybe even see a translucent one. And also, you might, who knows? Let me know if something happens. Nothing happened on my first tour today. Other than I had a really good looking guy all to myself on a private tour.
That's where it went out.
Of course he's half my age, but...
Okay, hour and a half.
All right, we'll talk about what happened upstairs back in the Depression era. There may have been a brothel up there,
Maybe.
but not during the millionaires era. All right, come with me if you want to live. There's blood on the floor, pay no attention to that. I'll tell you what.
Because I always said if I was in a haunted house, I would never be at the back because
I'm not always working in the room for a cover. When the building was first built in 1862, we're the oldest one in Virginia City because we didn't burn down in the Great Fire of 1875. But between 62 and 75, this was the Douglas Building. There was a physician, an attorney, a stockbroker, very upscale businesses on this floor, and upstairs was a boarding house for their families, complete with the dining room, very upscale. And the saloon downstairs was a 2-bit bar, so it cost a little bit more to drink down there back then, and it's cheap now. But they told me the higher price would keep the riffraff out, you know? But there was this one guy named Samuel Clemens that used to wander in there. Oh, okay, who's Samuel Clemens?
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain, good girl. And he changed his name in this town, and he talked his way up into the Millionaires Club when they took over in 1875 and wrote about it. And we're glad he did because we have words, no photographs of it. And there's some evidence when we started. Here's the 1920s, and this is what it looked like when the building was condemned in 1984. While it was condemned is when Ghost Adventures TV show came here. And they captured a spirit walking for 7 seconds. And because of that 7 seconds, they got picked up by Travel Channel. And we're on their first episode. And they were just here 2 months ago. And the fake blood on the floor is to first reenactments they did of some grotesque stories I have to tell you upstairs. They don't talk about the angel cats and the butterfly ghosts. So I probably not, they did film me, but I'm like, ghost, baby dolls. And they're probably not going to use me. The other tour guys like, demonic spirits. That's what they like. I'm too Cajun for that. No. Now I want to talk about the 1920s. Now, first of all, when we were the richest place on earth, there was 20 to 30,000 people here. The silver that Mr. Mackey found, this is a mountain. It was the size and shape of a football field, a couple of feet thick, and made us the richest place on earth. And everybody moved here from all over the world, even Lake County. Anyway, they ended up, the silver was just amazing. It was called the Big Bonanza, or the Comstock Lode, that big, huge core of silver. It was the largest found on the planet. It's been beat since then, but then it was the biggest one. So the silver came and went, and by 1899, everybody kind of left town. By the 1920s, it went from 30,000 people, depending on what book you read, to 200 to 300 people. And they redid the building. They had stock market money. Stock market crashed. Made a few of them kind of sad, so they hung themselves. Sad. They're still hanging around though. I'll meet them in a minute. Just their spirits. Now, there were suicides, murders, drug overdoses, natural cause death, and injury and disease. Because there's a million ways to die in the West. Now, would you like to meet them?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to start moving a little faster now. This next room might give you the willies. It's a little dark. That's 111. Woo, way dark. Let me turn some light.
Oh my gosh.
All right, you're in the men's bathroom now. And this is why this room will give you the willies. Oh, we got Willie Nelson in here hiding.
Willie.
You're in the men's bathroom now, and the ladies was on the other side of that wall. It's full of antiques, that's why I didn't have it boarded up. Now, before linoleum, they had tar paper. That's pretty tenacious because there's still some of it here. Now, as you can see, back in the 1920s, they were cowboy fans, Dallas Cowboy. They sometimes will hear boo. So I'm not a psychic medium, I'm a comedian. Not a very good one. You might hear a ghost go, boo, get some new jokes, you're killing us. Do you know why the ghost crossed the road? He wanted to cross over. Yes, the other side. Now, I'm going to take, see, I told you they were bad. Now, you come over here, I do have better ones, but I don't want bad y'all, so.
Don't do that.
Lost her.
Oh, I thought it was a mirror, but it's actually.
Hi, Nika.
I was trying to have those.
For child toys. One time I had a child up here. He was the overnighter with his parents, and he had a spirit box, and he wandered off by himself, and I followed him upstairs, where it's more freaky. And he goes, "Do you know you're dead?" And the spirit box went, "Ha, "We're not dead, dear. Let's go back down where your parents are." And I drove to get back down. He wasn't scared, but I was. But then the more I thought about it, I thought, you know, you're not dead like a zombie. You have everlasting life with your spirit. That's what I think. Okay, so one of the things about Mark Twain is he wrote about the walls, and he said, let me get some light here. I know it looks like we killed a Yeti, but he said there was red velvet walls and an ornate black, green, and gold border. Now we tore down the false ceiling that was put here sometime when they got electrical heat, and it exposed out. And we're really happy that that showed up, because you could imagine, and there was a beautiful red rug in the main part of the ballroom where we'll be going next. Now this right here, we're going to turn that into plexiglass, so you'll be looking down at our spiral staircase. The spiral staircase is in the museum, and it's under, please believe it or not, and it's been the site of a ghost from the 1890s. A lady in a blue dress has been seen floating up it all the time. The story, she was a prostitute that had her throat slit. That's what a bartender made up. It's been on TV, and it's the tour. I was taught that. We used to tell the story, but we've had psychics going, no, it wasn't a prostitute. She was an innocent that was murdered down there. Some of them have more graphic details, but I like to tell that story when I'm letting little kids on the tour. So, because it's just so graphic. Now, that's the door you come and go through if you want to spend the night. You can be an overnight investigator. It's $400 in the summer and $200 in the winter, because it's very cold up here. Then you go down out. We don't lock you in. We just lock you out of the saloon. That's where the ghosts are, for the boo-boos. So anyway, you go downstairs out that way, some crickety stairs, and below our feet is the museum. You ready to go to the Heart of the Millionaires Club? All right. Follow in the footsteps of Ulysses Grant, Thomas Edison. Well, I do have aces and aces.
It's really creepy.
You gotta figure yourself out.
It's really creepy. I can't sing it out of my mouth. I don't know.
Welcome to the boot cleaning room. We used to zip right through this room. That's why the sign says 30 minutes tour before we had any antiques or art to look at. Or ghost pictures to show you. And this is the room where I show you one of our best ghost pictures. There was a kitchenette over there and a boot cleaning room here. They store their hats, weapons, and coats. And you had to have your boots cleaned before you step through here. Thanks to Mark Twain, we know there was an $8,000 rug out here. They took up the whole rest of the building over here. Now, it was imported from England and it was red. We changed the name of this room to the photobombing ghost. So what happened was the lady stood right here. She was by herself. Carl, the other tour guide, was waiting on her. She went like this and then she squealed. And we randomly got, let me step over
I'm
here.
sorry.
We randomly got this picture who looks a lot like the ghost in this picture. So here's the lady's face taking up most of the frame. And when she zoomed in to see what she had, that's when she screamed.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Excuse me. And it looks a lot like her. Now, she's got a lantern in her hand and a high white lace collar, a green dress and red hair,
Wow.
and a very skeletal look to her face. You can kind of see jawbone and... Yeah, oh yeah. Easily.
But you're beautiful.
El Dia de Muertos.
She wanted to get in that selfie. Yeah.
Recuérdame. All right, you guys, are your boots clean?
I think so.
Let's step off into the Millionaire's Club. You're right here.
This one's turned out really good.
After
Oh, you're fine. It's okay. No big deal.
Sorry.
Thank you. There's your aces and eights. That wasn't Doc Holliday. It was. That was not my hair. It was. I even have a painting of it, but I can't think of it. My dad did. I didn't. It was. Maybe it was Doc Holliday. Oh, I love the internet. Now, this is the way you could come and go if your boots were clean. The millionaires lived uphill, most of them. And they started rebuilding the town right away. And they built that building first. And out that window was an open alleyway. So they could come in the front door and then sneak out the back door to go see their girlfriends across the alley here. It's been boarded up now, but so that was originally not a brothel, but a mistress's house. So the brothels were down on D Street. Now, you might have seen Thomas Edison playing cards here. There was 180 something members of the Millionaires Club. Many of them went and changed the world with the fortunes they made. One of the interesting things I thought was our flag says Battleborn, and this is the short story. But when they found the silver, they made us a state real quick, so they needed the votes. And with the votes, the money, they won the Civil War. Now, so Ulysses Grant came to thank us, and he was playing cards with Edmund Booth, whose brother shot Lincoln. Well, that'd be kind of awkward, huh? And I'm sure Edison was cheating. What is it?
Wild Bill Hickok.
Ah, okay, Wild Bill Hickok. There we go. All right. Now there's a mirror over here that's silver and it's peeling, cracked, tarnished. And underneath here, these floorboards, there were some whiskey bottles from Prohibition era and somebody who found underneath some loose boards. But we're pretty sure that whoever hit them didn't mean to leave them. They had never been opened, but they had leaked. And we have two of them on display downstairs. Come see a diamond dust. I need everybody's help. Walk the line and light it up better. Pretty girls up front. Come on, pretty girls. Okay, you guys can gather over here. I'm going to light up the diamond dust mirror. I love this part of the tour. Come on over this way so everybody can stand in a semicircle right here. There we go. So this will never crack, tarnish, or peel like the silver kind. And they came from France on a ship all the way around South America, and they docked in San Francisco and brought them on a stagecoach here. Took over here, and there's two huge ones in here. You saw the one downstairs. But this is the wall that collapsed. And that's because there was a bathhouse downstairs leaking water. It was eroding the dirt underneath the building, and that's why the building's crooked. And this wall was saturated with water, and a little earthquake came and it knocked it down. No one was hurt. They picked up the broken pieces of brick and put it back together. There was 3 chandeliers that hung in here, and a pool table over there, and a library over here, with the latest periodicals that rivaled anything west of the Mississippi, and even had a ticker tape stock market machine. Now, one of the very first telephones were invented to talk to the miners down there, very far down into the earth. They used to manipulate the stock market. Like if you wanted to buy the next 75 feet in the Betty Boop mine, you did. And then hopefully they'd find a strike, right? Well, they used to call and go, we found a strike, and we're going to send you guys down oysters and champagne, yay! And then they'd buy the stock, and then they'd go, oh look! They'd let the miners out, a day or two later, they'd come up, and then the news would spread. By that time, they already owned that stock. 2 sets of books, folks. There was even a boxing ring here in the 1970s, and a lady boxer owned it, and I'm going to take it to her bedroom next. It was it's the most crooked room in the building. But let's talk about Ghost Adventures TV show. This is where they got their start. They were doing a documentary, and they captured a spirit for 7 seconds. Because of that, they got picked up by Travel Channel. So the camera was facing this way. It was a night vision camera. Zach and Aaron were upstairs, and they grabbed his gear, and then he walked this way. And he didn't know, but he was being followed by a spirit. And this is room 2 where I've got my hair tugged a lot and stuff, so the active room. How's everybody doing? Good. Let me take you to the attorney's office. It's the most crooked room in the building. I hope you guys aren't familiar.
You guys looking for ghosts? Yep. Looking so cute while doing it.
I'm trying to get one to, photobomb me.
That was just Cassie. It's not the ghost.
What's the ghost? Look at her back there in the columns. I'm not sure if it's like a flashing thing.
They carved off one window frame and they put a wedge at the top, and that's how they dealt with this room. And then the lady that rented this room, she put the books under the corners of her bed. The lady that had the boxing ring. She was the most fun bear in town to poke. All right, we're going to go upstairs now.
Yeah, you're trying to get more of you and Nika, because I don't have these other people's permission. Creepy dog. There we go. Are you doing video? Come on over here, I'll be quiet while you get her.
Go.
where you could have 3 meals a day. Later on in history, it was turned into the biggest apartment in the building. The 2 sad stories I have to tell you happened in this area. And it's the ones they reenacted on the next episode that's going to be coming out in this season on Ghost Adventures. We've been on a lot of different shows, and there's a lot of amateur stuff on YouTube too. Anyway, in 1873, we made the front page of the New York Times, and that's actually downstairs. We have a copy of it. 12 dead in Virginia City explosion. It was the worst above ground explosion. Next door, all the dynamite was stored at the Bank of California, a big secure brick building. But not if you walk in and check on your dynamite with a monkey on your shoulder. So the Asian people, the Chinese, just borrowed these cool little squirrel monkeys, and everybody wanted one, and General von Bachlen bought one. He was our dynamite expert. The last time they saw him alive was when he walked into the building to check on his dynamite and nitroglycerin and barrels of explosives. They found his torso a half a block away. It blew off the whole top of this building next door and damaged this side too of us. There is a voice that the paranormal investigators get a lot. It's always exactly the same, and it says, "Where's Papa?" It's very haunting. I've heard it, but it must be a residual because it's always exactly the same. There was a little girl and her mother that were killed in that terrible explosion, and Papa was down in the mines. So we're wondering if that's her last thought that somehow impacted very strongly and leaks back out. That's one story. By the way, General von Bachlen's torso was found a half a block away with his pocket watch. And one guy was found a block away, decapitated from flying debris. It was one of the big iron shutters on the back. Now, so that's that story. Another story that's very sad happened in here in 1982. A man shot himself in the head. This was his apartment. He was a bartender downstairs, and his son and some other little boys were running outside, and 2 of the fastest runners slipped and fell into a mine shaft and died. Well, that's one of the very sad stories. So we want him to rest in peace, and they're going to reenact that. And if you guys happen to go on the tram tour, one of our tram drivers was the other father, so don't mention that story. Because he found out about it being put on the show and was kind of sad about that. He's sad. And I even told them about it. I looked right at the camera, I go, "Don't use this, but..." They're probably going to have me going, "Don't use this, but..." Because I signed a paper saying you could put everything. All right, you guys, any questions, comments, concerns before we move along? This is you might feel a heavier feeling here. I'm going to move closer to the front. It's a nicer feeling. Not because of the light. You scared me too. Now you can always stand here and look down at the people walking up and down the spiral staircase. We're going to turn that into plexiglass so you can see all the way to the first floor. But could you imagine the day when this was a glass skylight and they could crank open windows and sunlight would come in and go all the way to the first floor and the air would vent out? That was shattered in the explosion, and they replaced it with wood ever since. We just put that one there in 2012. Here's our 1920s water tank. We're not earthquake ready, so we're going to move along to the music room.
Hey, you two, come on. Tour's going. Come on, girls. Let's go.
It's people's faces.
It might just be the patterns on the ground.
It might be, but like it might not be.
Troublemakers.
I have a headache too.
Yeah, why do you think I call this music room? Look at the shape of the room. It was before we had any furniture in here.
Notes.
Like a music note?
Music note. Yeah.
I hear that, I hear piano, I hear guitar, I hear violin, and I hear harp. I originally taught piano, and I just love that every time someone comes up with a new One guy was at the inside of a harmonica.
Oh.
Was that somebody? Okay, good.
Oh.
Yeah, when we got Dolly, she was covered in dust and dirt,
Oh.
and no hair. And Nick goes, well, I only paid $30 for her. Take her home and clean her up. So I got to utilize my art degree. Y'all want fries for that? Anyway, I gave her hair, painted her shoes. Don't look at her bloomers, boys. I painted her shoes. I fell in love with her. So, he don't like it though. I have a really freaky picture that was taken the next day after I brought her back fixed up. A lady stood right there and she took, it was a iPhone, so it took a bunch in a row. And the first picture, Androids won't do the motion part. This light beam coming off the doll. On the second picture it was under the doll, then it was gone. But the light beam has its own shadow. And that's the kicker of why she's been named the haunted artifact. And that wasn't camera shake.
Wow.
It wasn't light beam coming in or someone else's flash. So it's been debunked and we don't know what to do with it.
Huh.
I have another picture that was taken this way. I'm coming down the stairs. Well, I've got you guys all. And a man took a picture because his daughters were right up underneath me the whole time. Here I am coming down the stairs with there's customers behind me. We're always having to debunk this is a face or that is a face. But what the heck is that? And why do I look like I have a hole in my head? So that face behind me at the top of the stairs is why I don't wait for you guys up right there anymore.
Wow.
Oh, spooky.
It looks like the same girl in the picture, the selfie one.
A lot of people have said that. And it looks like there's a two, like a little
Yeah.
face there.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
And
I
it's-
mean, it looks like these guys.
Yeah, that's when finally someone goes, why does that little girl have blood on her face? I go, well, first of all, I'm 60 years old.
Yeah.
Not yet, I'm 59. Isn't that weird? It's like when you're almost 21, like, I'm almost 21 now. Like, I'm almost 60. Anyway, when you're like 30, you're like, I don't want to be 30, yeah, I'm 29 and a half. Anyway, look at that. It looks like a hole in my head.
It does.
And blood on my face. Now, there was somebody, a lady who was killed with a pickaxe to the head. And the story of the prostitute that had her throat slit on our spiral staircase was made up. It's the story we still tell. It's been on TV. But I've had psychics say she was killed with a pickaxe to the head and she was a virgin. And raped. But I hate to tell that story, but I feel like I need to because we found out that the other story was made up. It's actually true for town, but not for here. So if you hear that story on one of our summertime when we're putting you guys through like cattle, just go, oh yeah, that's the story that we've told since the 1990s. That story's been told. So. We even have a drink named after the prostitutes. All right. Have the blue lady drink. It's good. That side? Yeah, just think about it. He was right-handed. Ooh, my gun was missing too. That's another weird part. All right. We have a cowboy ghost who dances on the ceiling. No, actually, in the 1970s, the guy used to practice his bullwhip in here. And in the 70s, you got one room, and you had to go downstairs and use a rickety old bathroom that was built in the 1920s. But back in the olden days, you got 2 rooms. And you got 3 meals a day. Isn't it kind of freaky looking that way? You got 3 meals a day, and it's very fancy. And they cleaned your little chamber pots right, because they didn't have indoor plumbing back then. But if you work your way up to the window and you look off this way, behind there's a big yellow house way out there. Behind that yellow house is our cemetery. It's a beautiful view of the cemetery from here. And just a beautiful view overall. You can see the farthest away mountains right now. Those are the Toyobe Humboldt Mountains. I'm just kidding. That's all the way in Iowa. No, was it Idaho? Iowa, yeah. To the right of the church is where they buried the prostitutes and the thieves on that little hill closer to the church than the proper cemetery. And the lady that was buried over there that's famous, Julia C. Bulette, is the only marked grave out of there. But they found the man who murdered her. Now she was a madam, but she was also a firefighter and a nurse and generous with the kids. So a lot of people loved her. So they were pretty sad she was murdered. The guy who said he did it, he was found with her. He said he didn't do it, but he was found with her jewelry and furs. And a prostitute in every town that Drifter had been in had been killed in the same manner. So they knew he did it, because one of the ladies didn't die and she was able to testify. So they buried him in Boot Hill, out there close to Julia. And so her lover moved her body. And that's what we sit around and drink and argue about. Where's Julia really buried? They say she's down in that first little town, which is Dayton, Nevada, just 6 miles away. But my favorite is that she was cemented into the basement of her lover's building. That's on C Street. He was a mortician, and that's a very haunted building too. It's the Union Brewery, across the street from the Red Dot. Great place to eat too. Janis Joplin used to sing there. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna take you guys. There's some beautiful antiques over here. Job in the world.
Must be used to it by now, though.
Yeah, I am. Now I just get startled when something happens.
Yeah.
The coolest thing that just recently happened was I went to go clean a men's room. We'd been doing Zumba, so the last thing we're thinking about is ghosts. You know, we closed the doors. And I went, dun, 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 we heard boom. I'm like, did you guys hear that? He didn't do 2 bits, he just did 1 bit. Comedians. All right, the next room I'm taking you into, people get scratched. Here's a woman's back. And it's a 3-pronged scratch. We get 3-pronged whelps, a lot, and also letters. I got a V and an I and an X and a Y. I'll show you guys once I get you all in there. And the door slams.
Okay. We're gonna be okay. We're just gonna hold on. This is really pushing. I'm trying not to look at them because I'm looking at them or less than getting
Can you see it too?
Yeah.
What?
Yes. Oh my god. What? She said, did you see it too?
That freaked me out.
That freaked me out. I should stop.
Tour guide's officially scared.
Great, I feel good. My camera won't work on here.
Oh, cool. That white light. Yeah.
What? What?
That was like
You jerk. You knew it was coming to me. You did that on purpose.
You got spooked.
It was a white light.
Indians are scary.
Because like it could have been a reflection, but it wasn't. There, we kind of, I kind of did like this, like there was something shiny on me.
Yeah, that's just.
It was too, and it.
I really like that painting.
Did anybody else see it or just heard it? I love it when someone else sees the same thing, so you know you're not crazy. Well, this is the notorious room 12, and that's the door that likes to slam by itself. And I've seen it fly open, which is against gravity. Because in the summertime we have the windows open, just a little bit of wind can catch it. And if someone bumps it, or the wind catches it, gravity takes it the rest of the way. And that's a pretty substantial moving door. That's gravity. I've seen it fly back open, and I've seen it slam shut. They were painting it brown when the building was condemned. Now there's also pretty light in here. My stomach's still kind of... this is some pretty light. This isn't a hair floating by. A lady took this 2 winters ago. Just an orb. She saw it and I heard her go, wow! One time when I were with the doll in the rocking chair, one time someone had a full spectrum and I was talking and I went, oh, static electricity. And they went, wow, because they saw a beam of light going in my head right when I said that. And then it went out my ear. I went ding, 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 nothing. Now, here is some of the, I told you about some of the scratch marks that have letters. Here's the lady's back, and there is an X and a Y on this one.
Oh man.
And I see V and an I a lot. And that's when I started trying to keep track of it. They had Carl on Ghost Adventures say that he's personally witnessed it 26 times. I'm like, Carl, it's more than that. It's dozens of times. Wow. But I'm usually outside selling tickets. So when he comes down, the customer's behind him going, look on my back! Because this is one of the last rooms. I thought I was on the back. Here's one on the arm. And this is kind of a pencil thin one, but that's a V and an I. The person's very startled. We do have people that do it to themselves. They don't know, but we call them PPs. Paranormal posers. So, all right, we'll leave this open. And we're going to do a conga line down to the museum for the dead end of the tour. I'm going to take you to the whiskey cellar.
The dead end of the tour.
I heard you say something. Oh yeah, you would make it look good.
And this is the dead end of the tour. You mortals survive. So far.
This is awesome. That's where they stack the bodies.
You guys made it. Now this whiskey cellar was the biggest of all the whiskey cellars. And there was over 100 saloons. So anyway, the morgue would get an overflow of bodies in the winter time. The ground would be too frozen to dig the graves. So they would have to store the bodies somewhere. And guess where they stored them? In here. And there was 77 bodies here one long winter when there was a cholera outbreak. So if you can imagine that. Now, we used to have a lamp here, and someone kept stealing our light bulb, almost like a punk thing. I mean, it was almost every day one winter. So the boss installed that, and as you can see, the spiders have found it. It puts off a false light. If you stand over in that corner, and you get your friend to stand over here, can anybody, like, do you see the orb? Like, move your camera over to that light. It's bluish, so depending on your camera.
I was just looking at
Yeah, and you can move it around, put it right in my hand. You can be like, now that's false evidence. But make sure, the farther back you are, the more of the refraction you can get. That's false evidence. You can freak your friends out at first, but then let them know the truth.
What is that from?
This light makes a refraction. Yeah.
Yeah, because.
And if you stand in that corner, it's brighter. And then get your friend to go like this. So we want the paranormal sciences to be taken seriously. So when you find something, but you and I did see something today. I'm glad that, because I'm only up there 2 days a week, and I like it when at least something happened. But not the scratch marks. I don't like that. So I thank you for taking the Washoe Club tour. Our ghosts love soul music. And that's the last joke I'll tell you. Thank you,
Cool.
Shannon.
Thank you. Here's that spiral staircase she was mentioning. Featured on Ripley's Believe It or Not. This shouldn't be up at all. But it works. People climb it. Pretty cool stuff.